right on top of us.
Well, it's some miles or another.
Oh, it sounded like it was right next to us.
Yeah.
10 miles.
It's behind us.
Oh.
Just crossing going up. Firehouse must be below us somewhere. Down the hill.
Okay, here's the thing. What if we procure some foam blocks that we can wedge in
For long drives.
for long drives and shit?
Yeah. Yeah, we just got foam blocks on the way all the time.
Well, they just two or three. They just live on the truck. They
Yeah, we just have to have some kind of clip that they can
other
hook
than
up high, when they're at not, like when we're
right.
loading, unloading.
If it's just two junks and they're light, even though they're big,
Yeah.
you can just set them aside.
Well, it doesn't even need two. We just need one.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's that or just like set the right amount of straps like I needed to. I knew I should have.
Actually, if we
I just didn't want to take this. I didn't want to take the second to move the case back out of the way because
right.
we had just done all that shuffling. Like, well, I think it's this case that goes here. No, wait, it's this case. And I like, oh wait, now pull it back out so that I can put straps where that needs to be. Like,
yeah, when you changed up that next, like you started to the old pack that we used to do,
yeah,
and then you started changing up the next row. I was like, oh, I guess I don't know where it's going with this.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm trying to do the truck back. I need to draw it out. Like I need to, just have a map card of the like 3 different packs that we do.
yep.
Um,
Well, when it comes to doing it, let me know
yeah,
because packing trucks full of odd-sized cases
yeah.
is something
Well,
I have a ridiculous
this-
amount of experience doing.
This is the pack. Like I'm gonna card this one out.
Right.
Here's, like as a map. Like,
Well, we could call
label.
this one what, like pack A?
But yeah, this is truck only. Like truck only distance. Like, and it has points for where the straps are supposed to be.
Right.
Like where a strap has to go between rows. Like the rows that get them, and then the final
We'll call
one.
this one our flat pack.
Yeah, flat.
It's our go-to. It's our flat pack.
Straight,
You know
straight
what I mean?
pack, and
Right.
straight truck pack. Because then,
And then we have to have a wheel well pack.
well, then we have it. Well, then you would have
or
a pack,
trailer pack,
a pack,
whichever way you
a
want
pack
to call
card
it.
for the trailers.
The trailer pack.
Yep. And that's
But
just
also
it just narrows up because of reasons.
A reverse trailer pack for transfers too, though.
Yep. So that would be a crossload pack. Set up for crossload. And then there are 2 types of crossload pack. One that's crossload home, and then the other one that's crossload distance. So if we're gonna take it, like going to Phoenix.
Yeah. A pack where we get nice even rows and each one gets a strap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like this
I
this pack would be fine if we were just going to Chautauqua. This and many straps. Fine. We're good. But to get to here, DC or further.
Right. And I see what you're doing by trying to get the center of our rows out the farthest so everything gets a little piece of the strap.
Yes. Yep.
It's not necessarily the best way to do it. I know that.
Yeah.
I know you think so, but I literally did 15 years of packing trucks, so crazy fucking shit.
Yeah.
I've tried every possible. It's like.
Well, it's not like the end row can be, have that point like that, because there isn't anything to
That
go.
row, right.
There isn't anything to go.
But it really screws up your next row when you continue to do that.
Yes. Yep. And
then it has all sorts of room to tighten in as you're moving.
Uh-huh.
Like I would do a row that has one side the strap is set deep,
Uh-huh.
and then you work as flat as you can across
Mm-hmm.
from furthest to innest. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then it just kind of goes, and it's all there. And then the next row I would start on the other side. You know what I mean? Just kind of.
We just don't have so like the arrangement here, like in this pack, there isn't much to go anywhere else that would make more flatter rows.
Right.
You know, once we get past the
There's a couple things that would be a little bit flatter rows.
yeah.
I mean, G17 next to the drum case, I think that's pretty much got to stay. That's a good fit.
Yeah, because it doesn't. Nothing else fits. So nothing else goes in there,
Right.
and also doesn't stick out. You know, like because
Right.
you could fit like the GAC trunk kit.
But yeah, what I'm wondering is, can you do the drum case, the GAC trunk hot dog, and then stands and something else? You know, to make a double row.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't.
You have to make a block.
To make a block, a
Yeah.
two-row block. Right.
Uh,
That would be dead even and give total refresh start.
Yeah,
A flat row to start with for the next
yeah,
one.
that's the we don't have that piece.
Right.
I wish we had. You know, like we need. If we had, and then like in building some things, it might be beneficial to build to the same size. So like another case identical to the drum trunk
Oh yeah, right. And
in
that's
depth.
but the drum trunk is the drum trunk is weird sized.
It is kind of weird size. So like as wide as it is, and then it's depth-ish, and then take and build the monitor console thing that the double rack that I want to build, and just make it so that it is so whatever that new dimension of those two deep is, make it that, because then it would fit here in the pack. It would fit in that hole,
Right. It would fit that
and
hole,
then be a flat surface once you have them
and then
together.
it's one case instead of three.
Correct.
Because it's not a ton of weight. You know, that would, the board, the head, and the wireless rack into one unit is
Yeah.
still less than most of our other cases. Less weight.
Yes. Yeah. No, it can easily be done. You just gotta build it. Because I know the space will fit that width there, that width going in, because it takes the GAC trunk will go in that space. You know, fits in that space fine.
Right.
Um, uh,
How much is left over though?
mhm.
How much is left over
Oh,
if you squeeze the GAC trunk in where
So
G17 is?
if you put the GAC trunk in there, but you know it has to go in hot dog into the hole. It sticks out. Um, it's an odd amount. You know, it isn't the depth of.
It's not even the depth of a cube.
No, it's not.
So that's not.
No, it's about this much short of a cube.
That's a bad option.
Yeah. And what's that?
I remember that.
That's smiley face. And I kind of despise using things like the drag huskies and all the cases like that as shivs. You know, in the
Yeah,
back.
no, that's not good.
I try to not rely on that.
They
Just
won't
because
last if you do that.
they crush, and it's just hard to maneuver. You know, like they're
awkward.
yeah.
They're big enough where you can get them really heavy too.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, the ones that's got the keyboard stands in it, it can be drug around. It's fine, but like, I don't. But if building a new case that is correctly depthed so that it fits alongside of either a new companion case that is like because two cases that I want to build for us are a full guitar boat rack
Oh, sure.
for Riley,
Right.
um, and racking up all of that equipment together.
200 guitar cases take up so much space.
Yeah. Ultimately, I mean, we would I would try and build it so it takes up the same footprint the guitars do already.
Yeah, sure.
Just be in a cleaner square case
Yeah,
rather
would you
than a
do
pile.
shells? Or would you do vertical?
Just
Vertical storage.
just one big guitar, like his guitar boat,
It'll
and
be,
it would just serve as the boat
it'll just be
and the rack and
a
so the
guitar wardrobe.
full guitar workstation boat.
And it'll have a table that folds down, a work table of some kind.
Either that or the door will become a table.
Right.
There's plenty of options on how to skin that chicken. Uh,
What's
so
our
just get
tallest thing? Our tallest thing is the drums.
drums right now. Yeah.
So technically you could go that tall with any kind of drum case or guitar case too.
Yep. Go that tall. Basically that same kind of footprint dimensions, and then just getting a matching case that slots in that end hole. Then it's one just the front of the pack is just one block. The hardest part is just that
The
getting
only thing that I worry about is if I have to.
Prepare to turn
I can be pretty diverse with my setup, and so can Riley.
yeah.
You know what I mean? We could fit into weird little alley hallways off stage.
Right. I mean, Riley can fit.
We have that remote head though, right? We always carry it with us.
Yeah, that's in the Gactron, that DS.
So
And the other, yeah,
if I need to put that on stage and I can't be near the stage for some reason, we can use that.
well, if you can't be near the stage, like the console could come. Like I would build
the console can go around. You're right.
The console can just move away. Just the longer cables of the console.
in quarter of a mile, turn left.
Leave the head. Even if you have to do other side.
Right, but if we put it all in one unit, where the board lives in it, the wireless lives in it, the head lives in it. You know what I mean? As one
Yes.
one unit, we can just use the remote head.
Well, because the
In 100 feet, turn left. Route calculation.
I wasn't listening to this. Listening to my head.
Route calculation.
Okay.
Take next right.
I beat the truck.
You see him looking
He was
at
all
us?
mad. Whoops. That light. Well, I remember that light is so long. It cycles so long. Yeah. Yep. Um. Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing: if we rack up the console, if we rack everything up, the head end and the wireless and everything, they're gonna get permanently wired together.
Yeah.
So like the outputs are gonna come from the head for the monitor sends. They're gonna come from that head end as well.
Yeah.
Um,
But there's no, I mean,
so then the only connection that's gonna go up to the console will be an Ethernet cable.
right. And obviously there's no reason I can't pull the console out of it.
Right, and then you just
where
take
I
it.
want.
Then you just take an Ethernet cable over
Yeah.
to it,
That's true.
and have the exact same setup.
In either direction, I
Yep.
can do it. Right.
Yep. So it'll only be an Ethernet cable tying to the console.
Right. Just the whole thing, you can't fit anywhere near the stage because it's just too big. Then you just take our spare head and throw it out there.
I mean,
It's the same thing. We just gotta
in one of those cases, where were we gonna? It's still like it's just not divisible. Like it's one footprint instead of two, but like it still had to go somewhere. Like it still had to be somewhere near the stage.
Yes.
So we're like, if it couldn't have been there as two pieces, if it can't be there as one piece, would it even have been able to be there as two pieces?
Right. Well, I guess. I mean, I think about it. If we carry that extra head input,
Yeah.
head,
And we've got extra snakes.
and we have the extra Cat 6 snakes. There's literally nothing that we can't accommodate.
Correct. Yeah. And like I'm trying to not force, but build everything build everything for the 90%, the 98%
Yeah.
percentile, rather than building it for the 1%.
Yeah, you definitely.
Because like 1% of the places, sure, we don't fit. We'd have to do something extraordinary to make it fit. Well, and so it doesn't work. So, but that's not a reason not to build it for the 98% of the time. Like don't develop your processes around the 1%. Make exceptions and do exceptions rather than making the exceptions the rule.
So we use like half-inch ply on the bottom,
I
eighth inch on the balls with reinforced corners, or
I would probably do
quarter inch. That's heavy.
it's going to be inside rack rails, so the rack rails are going to be supported by the outside of it. Or if I do a shock rack, which I probably should, shocked.
Yeah.
So a shocked inside. So the inside is going to be.
If you're building a shock, I think you're pretty much always better off just buying one.
Yeah, or whatever it is, just getting the dimensions so that they work well, so that it makes sense.
Right.
It fits appropriately. But I think you usually build out of 3/8 ply.
Okay.
Just so you have the ability to pull against it. Since you get in, you want the case to just crunch when you put a strap against it.
It has to be truck worthy.
Yeah.
It'd be a bummer to add another behemoth to our arsenal.
Right. No, yeah, I wouldn't want to try and make it. I wouldn't build the whole thing out of half-inch ply. But the base might be 3/4.
Ooh. It's the road.
Yeah.
It's perfect right there.
Be throwing it to the outside. Yeah. case
Kit.
kit. Yeah. One that's all built out so that you just have to open it and everything's sorted and kind of ready laid out. Then I gotta finish the second level to my lighting case there. Let's get the second tier with more lights. Yep, more lights.
16.
Yeah, I think I'll carry the rest of. I think that'll come with the transition to the newer console. Will be that, and then possibly carrying more of those movers to do, instead of doing just straight bars on the trees, left and right, and the side trees, they're going to become 4 and 4 of those same car washes. 4 and 4. So 8 of those there.